So Mayo are through to the All-Ireland football final after a 5-20 to 3-13 win over Tipperary at Croke Park, and very clinical stuff up front, just putting up a massive scoreline of 5-20, just kept it going throughout the game. Like, it was merciless stuff in front of goal. Like, Cillian O'Connor scoring 4 goals from playing a championship match in All-Ireland semi-final. You can't say enough about that. I mean, it doesn't matter if the opposition were soundly beaten or not. To score 4 goals is incredible stuff. And you know, I think it's a tough one to see 2 semi-finals like this. I mean, Mayo have obviously won very, very handily here, but Tipperary, for their part, kept going. Like, after that disastrous kind of spell in the first half, having been just 1-2 to 1-1 behind and creating goal chances and all this, just Mayo were relentless from the 13th minute until half time. Just Mayo absolutely annihilated Tipperary, and they were just living off a couple of frees, but it was those missed chances early on that were the difference between Tipperary keeping in the game for longer and not. And I think the first goal was an absolute killer, so that came after 10 minutes, and Aidan O'Shea had turned over a Tipperary man in the D, and I felt it was a foul. Now, I haven't seen a replay, but I felt that was a foul. Turned, and it was fed through by Tommy Conroy, who was absolutely brilliant. He fed it through for Cillian O'Connor to palm into the net. And I think Tommy Conroy was one of the players that really stood out for me in this game. Scored a mark early on in the game, and actually he could have had a second mark score, but he actually turned and played on and knocked it over the bar. He just looks like such a good addition and a player that they can rely on for scores. Brian O'Donoghue probably won't be getting too many headlines, but he won, I think it was 3 frees early on in the first half, made an important contribution. Paddy Durkin wearing out the Tipperary defenders the way he was running at Brian Fox an awful lot, and Fox had got that goal, but you could see he was fairly tired chasing his man, because Durkin is just a machine. But Durkin actually strangely dropped 3 shots short to the goalkeeper during the first half, and probably that's something that'll be punished by Dublin in the final if Mayo have any aspirations of actually winning that game, which, you know, we'll get on to that in a while. But Cillian O'Connor, I mean, what a sensational performance to score that many goals. Obviously, Liam Casey and Evan Comerford will be disappointed with the way that intercept goal happened not long before half time. I think that was on the 30th minute. That made it 3-11 to 1-4. Obviously, the horse had completely bolted at that stage. I think Stephen Cohen did quite well on Colin O'Riordan, and I think O'Riordan just got into the game more and more as it went on, but I think Stephen Cohen will be happy enough with the job that he did. I think Michael Quinlivan, it probably took him a long while to get into the game as well, and he didn't actually score. He had a goal chance off the ground that he whipped wide late on. Obviously, Quinlivan pulled him down, or Keegan pulled Quinlivan down for that black card incident that happened on the 38th minute. And the thing about that is, we bring it up yet again. Does the black card work? I mean, it has cleaned up the game in an awful lot of areas. There's less body checking. There are fewer fouls. It is less cynical. But Quinlivan straight through. Does he have a hesitation pulling him down? No. Did Keegan do the right thing in terms of trying to win the game? Yes. Did he? Is it sort of bending the rules to suit your own needs? Absolutely. But if I was there, if I was Lee Keegan, I'd be doing the same thing. And I think most people who are watching this, and you can let me know if you think otherwise, would have pulled him down in that situation, because the whole idea behind a cynical foul in the vast majority of cases is to stop goal. And if you're going off for 10 minutes, do you know what, that's a price we're paying, especially if it's like, let's say we jump to the 72nd minute of the game or something like that, we're in injury time and a team, you're up by 2 points and a guy straight through. Are you going to pull him down outside the 14? You can be sure of it. Why wouldn't you? You'd be crazy not to. So, but in a wider point, the amount of goal chances that Mayo conceded over the course of this game was very, very worrying from their behalf. Like, so you have, if I just run through them one by one quickly, just because this is something that Mayo will need to tighten up on, and how you do that in 2 weeks when you've Dublin coming for you, an unbelievably well-oiled machine, is the big one. So I think early on Stephen O'Brien was through, and he was sort of stumbling and he hit a shot off balance and it dropped short. But I would consider that a goal chance, because he was in. If he had to toe tap and go again, I think he had a chance to get in. Then you have Quinlivan, who stepped by Lee Keegan, goal shot saved. Conor Sweeney caught that centre from Michael Quinlivan down to 14 here at the hill end and hit it straight at the goalkeeper. That's another goal chance. The Fox one that dribbled over the line, obviously it's in the net, so that's a goal chance. Michael Quinlivan running through and Lee Keegan pulled him down for the black card, goal chance. Philip Austin had one saved after being put through by Stephen O'Brien in the 51st minute, give or take, goal chance. Stephen O'Brien hits one wide, goal chance. He was through 1-on-1. Paddy Feehan scores a goal, that's a chance, of course. And Liam Boland went through, goal chance after being fed by Colin O'Riordan. Conor Sweeney obviously had his unbelievable goal into the roof of the net, and then Michael Quinlivan wide at the end. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 goal chances. I mean, what are Dublin going to do there? If Tipperary else put up a scoreline of 3-13 and miss that amount of goal chances, enough goal chances to actually win this game. I mean, you're never going to score them all, but that's quite something. And throughout the game, like it's and this is textbook stuff now of people just resorting to memes. People are doing memes about, the performance here. Stop killing him, he's dead already. The sort of Simpsons thing about Tipperary's performance here. And I mean, that is the world we're in now, where people are just trying to make memes out of things, make things funny straight away. But Tip kept going, because they'd fallen just over 20 points behind and could have folded up the tents, but they didn't. They were well beaten, soundly beaten by a much better team, but they stayed going. So I think from that point of view, David Power will be proud of the fact that his players didn't just capitulate entirely. Yes, like they were hit with blow after blow after blow, but they stayed going. And that second period in particular was absolutely devastating from Mayo. They scored 3-6 to 3 points, and at that stage it was absolutely game over. Let's see, and people are trying to even message during the game saying, well, look, if Dublin, there's so much focus on Dublin because they won by 15 points against Cavan, why isn't there as much focus on Mayo and split them in two and all this kind of hilarious stuff that does be going on? But like, Mayo aren't doing this every day. They beat Leitrim 2-5 to 10 points. They beat Roscommon by 6. They beat Galway by 1. Right, they've won handily here, but Tipperary did pull it back and made it a somewhat respectable scoreline, 5-20 to 3-13. It's an ugly enough scoreline, but it's not an absolute annihilation. But the problem is that Dublin are winning games like this routinely, and they're not giving up the 10, 11 goal chances, and therein lies the problem. And people are being willfully ignorant if they try and conflate what happened here today with what happened against Cavan, with what happened with Dublin throughout the Leinster Championship. Like the Leinster final against Meath, it was such tough watch. And like, Dublin are obviously brilliant. I mean, why do people take it as an insult about Dublin? It's just that it no longer feels like we're playing a sport anymore. It just feels like a transaction. That come in, Dublin, they'll go through the process, win the game, get out of here. And I don't know, like, sport is supposed to be about joy, emotion, all these different things, and that feels like it's been taken out of it. But and like, you wonder when things will change actually. And I think it's generally, things change when money always talks. And if it gets to a stage where Dublin continue to win games so handily and it just feels so lifeless in here or whatever stadium they're playing in, it's only when sponsors walk that stuff will change, because the power of sponsors. You even look at American football, which I often reference, the Washington Redskins had their name changed because of the connotations of Redskins, and it was because of pressure from big sports companies that were sponsoring the club that it changed. So it's the money that normally talks. That they're now the Washington football team. Well, they are for the moment, and you just wonder, will it be a sponsor thing eventually, that if they start walking away because they're like, people have lost interest in this. But again, like, it's disappointing when you point out that we've a real issue here and people jump down your neck saying you're slating Dublin. I'm not. The players are brilliant. They play unbelievable stuff, and like, they're such a finely tuned machine. But it's not an insult at them. It's just something has to be done. And again, I don't see splitting the county as the issue, but I do think obviously other counties have to be brought up to meet them, and funding or whatever it might be. But for Mayo, they're the sort of team that plays at the level of their opposition. So maybe they will be able to muster a huge performance for the All-Ireland final. They'll certainly need it to stay in it. Will it be enough? Who knows? But if they concede that many goal chances, they're going to be in serious bother. Aidan O'Shea was quite good. I think he knitted together play very well. Turnovers, assists, winning high ball, massive threat. He'll need to probably have more of an impact in the final than he probably has in other games against Dublin. And also, we saw what happened with Thomas Galligan when high ball was hit in. Philly McMahon had come on at this point late on in the game and spoiled him nicely a couple of times. So it'll be interesting to see if that matchup sort of happens. But an awful lot of good performances from Mayo here. But like, to put up 520, if you put that up in a hurling match, you'd be thinking that's unbelievable going. So great performance in a lot of respects, but worrying to concede that much. And let me know how you think the final will go, or your thoughts on this game or anything I've been talking about.